all of our food farms and chefs family. I want to reintroduce one of our returning guests who is an amazing person, an amazing human being. He is a licensed professional counselor with mental health. He is board certified nationally to provide crisis management. He goes out whenever there's some sort of like big dilemma across the country, like they call him. He is the person, but he also is the founder and the CEO of the Trauma Survivors Foundation. Dennis Carradin, welcome back to the show.
I sound amazing on paper, and then you talk to the wife and the kids, and I'm kind of a dork, so it's okay. Thank you for letting me.
No, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Actually, one of the things that I didn't know through that I always forget, but then I research you again like every single time, and I'm like, oh right, he's also a firefighter. Like on paper, you definitely sound like this amazing human being, and you are.
Then people meet me and we're like, oh yeah, it's Dennis, whatever. Give him a lollipop, sit him in the corner, he'll be okay.
So, I mean, how did you get into all of this? How did you start your foundation?
Wow. You know, it's funny getting into it and starting the foundation, two separate things. I was actually talking to a few college students about this in a little lecture that we did. And I said, I went into college wanting to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatrician, loved working with kids, always wanted to do that. And I fell in love with psychology the end of my sophomore year, just literally fell in love with it. And so when I started pursuing this, there was this emergent field called trauma psychology and crisis intervention. And sadly, when I got my degree and eventually went to Temple and went on for my master's, my doctorate, all that great stuff, that I then didn't realize I was becoming the grandfather or the grandfather generation of this trauma psychology. So this has been in my blood, since day two of college. The Trauma Survivors Foundation actually started formalizing a little bit after 9/11. So we had responded there on the pile for about 3 months, working with first responders, and decided, well, we got to do something. So we started doing events and we started doing fundraising for people. And then after that, it was like, okay, well, this is good, but we really didn't formalize it. We started formalizing the foundation and actually got our 501c3 after the Sandy Hook massacre. And to tell that story, I always say that any charity, any foundation, any movement always starts with a single person or a family member or something like that. And this actually started with a college co-ed, 21-year-old that was up in Danbury, Connecticut, I believe, somewhere in that area. I was commissioned to go out. We were about 4 weeks up in Sandy Hook to respond to the crisis. And I was commissioned to go out to another area to talk to family members. And I stopped in this Dunkin', at the time, Dunkin' Donuts. We have to pay credence now that it's just Dunkin' or Dunkies if you're up there, excuse me. So I had to stop at Dunkin' in Danbury or wherever it was in Connecticut, wasn't sure. I walked in, my attire of the day was a business suit. So I kind of looked like one of the reporters that was kind of flocking the area. So I went up to the counter, I ordered a black coffee from this gal that was there, and she started crying. And I thought to myself, it's like nobody's ever ordered a black coffee from you? It's a tragedy, or and I didn't get it. And her supervisor, her manager, came over and just kind of gave me this death stare. And I thought, yeah, this is it. I'm dead in Connecticut, And I said, look, hey, I'm a therapist. I'm a mental health person. I don't know what happened here. And she, the girl, just started crying, looked at the manager, and the manager told me that her nephew was one of the little boys killed at the school. So I ended up speaking to her for about 30 minutes afterwards and found out a couple of things. And this became true, and this became where we formalized the foundation. Was one, she was a college student and she was underinsured. She didn't have we all know that you had the $10,000 deductibles and
Yeah.
so forth. She didn't have access to mental health. She had gone to one crisis intervention that was a group, and she felt very uncomfortable. She was a very private person. And then, she didn't know who to go to or who to turn to. So I spoke to her, got her to smile a little bit, just had her thinking about different things. And then afterwards, after we had finished, I made sure that she was hooked up with a friend of mine in that area to get further counseling. And at that time, I just paid for it out of my pocket, but I thought, we have to do something. So starting the foundation started there, and we developed a 5-step model, or a 5-session model, excuse me, where we give 5 sessions after a traumatic event that you could use with one of our trained trauma therapists in our network. We're between 2,500 and 2,800 therapists under the network. They're located, not me. They're located in about 41 different states. And so it became this vibrant network. And then we started going a little crazy, we not crazy bad, but we started doing trainings. We started training first responders. We started providing crisis intervention with responders. We started training therapists to work with first responders. What we found, one of the biggest things, is that the everyday mental health therapist really doesn't get the first responder world. They don't understand it. They don't know what these folks come through. And we started finding these therapists were more of what we call a trauma tourist, where they basically want to just hear these stories from these men and women, and really not providing care, but just hearing stories, which the stories are pretty wild,
Yeah.
So people hear them, and they weren't providing the right care. So we developed a class, which is a multi-day class where people come in, and they actually, the therapist learns how to work with the first responders. And then COVID hit, and we developed through COVID, and again, it all starts with one person. Started with my wife, Laura. We started the Hospital Heroes Food Drive. Laura at the time was a critical care nurse at Jefferson Hospital in Philly, which Jefferson, if we all remember, was the epicenter to the COVID crisis. Literally every day people were coming in. There were more body bags than anybody knew what to do with. And again, it was right before any interventions came into play, any vaccines, any medications. We didn't know what it was. So we got inundated with it. She got inundated with it. And I could sit here and tell you stories of, she was quarantined away from us. We had to get an RV for the driveway. She had to stay in an RV in the driveway. And then eventually Jefferson made them all go down to I think it was the DoubleTree. It was a hotel on Broad Street that was guarded by National Guardsmen, and so here I am in the world. There's my, this is my wife, at the time was my fiance. And I had to do something. The cool part about my job was that I got a letter from the Department of Homeland Security that allowed me to go anywhere. We had the travel restrictions, and I had this cool letter. So like somebody that, actually thought he knew something. I got down into Philadelphia, got to Jefferson, bypassed everybody, and saw Laura, and I said, "Hey, did you eat today? Did you have anything to eat?" And she said, "No, somebody brought a couple of pizzas in, and patients, it was a mess. And the cafeteria was a wreck. There was nothing in the vending machines. It was bad." So I called a buddy of mine. I asked that he has a restaurant downtown. And I said, "I know you're closing, but do you have any food?" And he goes, "Look, I have enough to make 150 burritos." And you make that joke, is that, was burritos the greatest choice for tired people on the go? I'm not going to talk about bathroom habits afterwards.
No, but it's a quick grab and go. I mean, you can hold it in your hand, take a bite, it's an easy one.
So we got together with them. That was our first run. And then I contacted a couple of buddies that we do events with, over with Schaefer Entertainment, with Flight Entertainment, with upcoming events. I called John Schaefer, Rob Wright, Ray Sheehan, Dennis Cadenzi, and I said, "Look, you guys are in."
Trevino.
What's that?
Dominic Savino.
Yep, absolutely.
Dominic's one of my closest friends. When you mentioned, your program, I was like, yeah, I've donated a little bit to that through Dominic, and I know Schaefer Sound quite well. So I've worked with Dominic for years.
All those guys were amazing. They helped push out the initial offering of it. I mean, at one point we actually got, I think it was 1,000 chicken dinners from KFC. It was this, my car smelled like for at least 2 to 3 weeks afterwards. It was, and as a vegetarian, it was very disturbing. It was just
I always forget you're a vegetarian, but I want to circle back around to the food and your beverages and everything like that, because unfortunately the 20 minutes goes real fast. So and we're all talkers. So why don't you tell us, because our family at Food Farms and Chefs, we love to help support, and we want to get the word out there with, some of the events that you have, that you're raising funds and whatnot to support the Trauma Survivors Foundation, Hospital Heroes Food Drive. So.
Well, our first one coming up, our big one, well, we actually have two. We're the charity of the Delaware Taco Fest. So Delaware Taco Fest is on September 24th and 25th down at Tubman Garrett Park on the waterfront down in Wilmington. That is a fun festival. There's over 40, I think it is. I believe it's over 40 taco vendors that are going to be down there. Food, drink, prizes. They even have luchadors that are going to be wrestling there. I mean, it's a fun time, and we're the charity of it. And we love our partners with Taste of Your Town over there. They were great. And the weekend after that is our fun one. We have the Delaware Beer Fest. Delaware Beer Fest, October 1st. It's at the Figure 8 Barn over in Bellevue State Park in Wilmington, Delaware. The Figure 8 Barn was a private horse barn for one of the DuPont families. It is a 32,000 square foot horse barn.
That's a lot of horses. That used to be a lot of horses.
Yeah, that's amazing. But the place is absolutely gorgeous. We could pack it not only with beer and people and food and all that, but we have it. I took it on as a bet. Somebody told me we couldn't have this really kind of kick butt type of beer fest in Delaware, and I took the bet. My initial payment was $4. I bought the domain name Delaware Beer Fest and DelawareBeerFestival.com, and said, well, we're going to try. And the first year we had close to 2,000 people that came in, and then COVID hit, but we still ran smaller events with it. So this one, we're coming back big. So we have 70 plus brands. We'll have over 100 plus offerings. We have 5 live bands that are going to be there. We have some chefs that are absolutely amazing. Chef Jeremiah from Hamilton's on Main down in Newark will be there. Chef Robbie Jester, if you guys remember Chef Robbie Jester from Food Network fame, Robbie beat Bobby Flay, and that was kind of cool. He's going to be there with Honest Eats. We have Koi on the Go. We got V&M Bistro. So we tried to make it so much more than just beer and a beer festival. This is a tasting event. And the cool part down there, you get to taste some of the offerings that we have. So one of the wines that we produced is called the Captain's Punch from Wagon House Winery and Three Boys brand over in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. So you get to sample the Captain's Punch there. You'll get to sample our rebranded Survivors IPA from Big Oyster Brewery. They'll be there. That we have a new label, and the label has all of our hospital heroes on it. So it's a really cool label. We're really excited about it. And for a very limited time, because we are selling out of this stuff, it's that dang delicious. We have our Barrel Select 9 to 13 year age bourbon from Knob Creek. Again, all supports the hospital heroes. Now, the cool part, same day that we're doing that, we're the charity of the Pittsburgh All-Star Craft Beer and Wine Festival. So we are covering both areas, down here near Philadelphia, then all the way over there at Pittsburgh. So it's going to be just a really fun day. I'm going to try to do a relay or something and what have you. We actually really fun at Delaware Beer Fest. We just put in a scavenger hunt. So this will be a digital scavenger hunt you can do on your cell phone. And it's about taking fun pictures. It's about doing fun stuff. Everybody's going to get get a pretzel lanyard, your pretzel necklace. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be an absolute fun event. And then after that, which a month later, which I don't know why we did this, I just don't want to sleep for the next 2 months, is our Black Tie Sneakers Masquerade Gala. This is my personal favorite. It is one that was made out of a labor of love, and man, it just gets more fun every year. So our last year before the shutdown, we did it at the Queen down in Wilmington, Delaware, and we decided we're going to move it to Philadelphia. So we are going to be a casino, or live casino and hotel in Philadelphia. We rented out the top floor of this place. We have a cocktail reception, the full gala. You come in your best dress, your best tux, your greatest sneakers, and put on a mask, and you're going to come and have fun. We have one of the top area party bands. We have Kristen and the Noise that is going to be there. If anybody's down at the beaches or at the shore, Kristen and the Noise. They are so much fun. We have Snack Time Philly. Snack Time Philly is a 7-piece brass band that started during COVID. They went to the different neighborhoods up in Philly. They went to Fishtown, they went to Port Richmond, they went to Grace Ferry, and they played music for the people during things. It's this funky sound, but it is so cool. So they're going to be there. We have James Beard Award nominated chefs, and I think 2 winners that are going to be one of our 12 chefs that are going to be there. It's absolutely insane. It's going to be this almost like a street food festival where you come into the cocktail hour and you're getting food from not only the States, Cambodia, Taiwan, Japan, China, from I think Nigeria. You're getting them from every part, and which is real cool. And if anybody knows Cake and Joe in Philly, which is amazing, Amber's got me hooked on that today. I'm not allowed to go in or out of Philadelphia without stopping for a dessert for my wife from Cake and Joe. It's that good. They're doing our desserts, so it's really, really cool. And we right now have 7. We're probably going to have upwards to 9 distilleries that are going to be there, to all Philadelphia brands, all Philadelphia or Pennsylvania brands, and things like Kiki Vodka, Mad Hat. We got Boardroom Spirits, Resurgent,
That's Hat.
Yep, that and Revivalist is going to be there. It's going to be this just party, right? We also have auction items. These are the hard to get auction items. When you get there, you're going to see signed autographed pictures and helmets and footballs and baseballs and things like that people can't find anywhere. We have a huge silent auction that all that money is going to go straight to our program. But we just want you to come out and have an amazing time. And then shortly after that, we have our New Year's Eve bash down at Atlantic City at the Showboat Casino and Hotel, or I think it's called the Showboat Event Center now. This is our 6th or 7th year that we've been involved with this with our folks over at Upcoming Events, and it's a blast. So we have a lot, and then there's so many other things. I mean, we literally get involved. You just have to go to our website, go to the TraumaSurvivorsFoundation.com, go to HospitalHeroesFoodDrive.org, go to BlackTieSneakersGala.com, DelawareBeerFest.com. And if you want to find out about yours truly, so I could sound even more amazing on paper, go to Carradin.com.
I mean, I was going to round you up, but you kind of like did the whole entire thing on your own. You're just used to me prompting you.
I just roll with it. That's easy, That's the easiest interview you get. Just wind me up and I'll start talking. What is it? Interview Kevin Smith. He's the same way, right?
I know, and you're obviously like a well-spoken person, and easy on the eyes. So if anybody is out there that's listening, tune into the YouTube channel and look up Food Farms and Chefs, and you'll be able to see Dennis as well during the interview. But Dennis, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to also mention to our listeners that if they want to support in other ways, you have merch on your merchandise on your website as well.
So just to tell you real quick before we wrap up here, and I'll jump in on this one. Go to BlackTieSneakersGala.com. go under merchandise. We have 10 pairs of sneakers that have been developed for us that are high top, low top sneakers specifically for the Hospital Heroes Drive. There's ones that we call the hero ones, the nurse ones, the I Love a Nurse one. Get it. They're cheap as all anything. They're awesome. We also have a deal with Bungee brand sneakers in Philadelphia for the sneakers. And these are gorgeous sneakers and gorgeous shoes. So get in there and get those things, but also buy t-shirts, have fun, give us donations, send us love. You know, it's a good time.
Great. Thank you so much, Dennis, for joining us. Until next time, and obviously, you know, you'll see me at the Delaware Beer Fest and black tie sneakers. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on again.
no problem.
Dennis, thank you for all you do. And Hospital for Heroes is an amazing organization. Thank you for being such a great part of that.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you so much.